When it comes to time travel, I don't think there's any better anime than Steins Gate. Now, time travel is a topic that has been explored numerous times in anime, but in all of those anime, time travel is just used as a plot device and it's not usually explored enough. But the thing that makes Steins Gate a perfect time travel anime is that the whole concept of time travel is not just thrown at the side like some other quote-unquote time travel anime. In Steins Gate, time travel is explored and understood by the characters instead of just, oh yeah, I can travel through time, but I'm gonna use this power to fix my shitty life instead of understanding how it works and exploring the concept. Each and every episode of Steins Gate is about time travel and the characters trying to understand the complexities that come with it. It's basically the Back to the Future of anime, where most of the story is centered around time travel, where most of the other anime are kinda like those films where time travel is just used as a plot device and not explored at all. But in Steins Gate, it's the main focus of the whole story. So Steins Gate is an anime based on a visual novel of the same name. The anime came out in 2011 and the visual novel came out in 2009. I haven't yet played the visual novel. I'm sure it has some intense gameplay. The main character of the show is Okabe Rintaro. In the show, he's often referred to as Hyoin Kyoma, but I'm just gonna call him Okabe. He's a mad scientist who is attending a seminar on time travel when he meets this weird redhead girl who claims to have met him 5 minutes ago, but Okabe obviously has no idea what she's talking about, as he's seeing her for the first time and brushes her off saying she's a spy or something. But like a minute after their conversation ends, Okabe sees her dead body in the same building and he's like, that's very strange. Now after getting out of the building, he sends a text to his friend about the whole thing that just happened. After Okabe sends the text to his friend, this weird shift in the timeline happens that only Okabe notices and everybody around him is kinda unaware of what just happened. And by the end of the episode, Okabe finds out that the weird girl that he saw in the beginning of the episode is still alive somehow. So what happened was that the text Okabe sent to his friend was somehow sent 1 week into the past, changing this girl's fate in the process. So the show centers around the main characters trying to figure out the whole time travel mystery and how the whole thing works, and they find out that they can send messages into the past that can alter the timeline. And Okabe, our main character, is the only one who remembers all the previous timelines, and all the other characters have no idea about any of the changes in the timeline that they have made. The main characters in this show are so good, they're very entertaining to watch. Okabe is an eccentric mad scientist who wears a white lab coat, so you know he means business. He's a very high energy and dialogue heavy character who is always fun to watch, and he's also very funny. His childhood friend Mayuri, who is also a very high energy character most of the time and very optimistic. She is always very positive. She's the kind of girl who, no matter how bad things get, never complains. Daru is a Discord mod. Yeah, that is all there is to it to his character. And Kurisu, who's the love interest of Okabe, is the tsundere of the show. Now, these kind of characters are mostly very annoying in anime, and I mean, she has her moments where she gets pretty annoying, but for the most part, she also contributes a lot to the research. She's also kind of a genius, so she gets a pass, I guess. Oh yeah, and there's Suzuha, who's probably my second favorite character in the show after Okabe, obviously. She's not part of the main group, but she is kind of a badass, and if you've seen the show, you know she's a great character. Also, there are a lot of other great characters in the show, but these are the ones that stand out most of the time. The main characters have great chemistry with each other, and these characters are very anime, if that makes any sense. One thing that I love about this show is its vibes, and I'm not just talking about the general anime vibes that this show gives off, but more of the summer vibes. I don't know, the atmosphere of this show is so good. It gives off those quiet summer daytime vibes where everything is quiet and the only thing that you can hear is the wind, and the sun is shining like a bitch. I love summer, and I know a lot of people hate summer, but I just love summer, dude. Summer season haters be like, oh yeah, my favorite winter season is here, where everything is dim and depressed. I love being depressed. So this show is very comforting for me to watch outside of its story just because of its vibes. The quiet summer afternoon vibes are like a cherry on top for me, especially the first half of this show. And also first half is where a lot of people just drop the show because because it does take quite a bit of time for the story to actually get going. A lot of people mostly get bored and drop the show before even watching up until episode 12. There's a lot of build-up that happens at the start of the show where the main characters are trying to figure out the mechanics around time travel, so I can understand why a lot of people tune out of the show. But for someone like me who absolutely adores time travel, I don't care, man. If you're yapping about time travel in your show, I'm watching it all the way through. So after episode 12, they figure out how to send a person's consciousness into the past. Now, this is where the actual time travel starts. Before, it was just sending messages into the past and hoping that something would change. But now Okabe can go directly into the past and change things himself instead of relying on a text message. This is obviously a way more interesting way of time travel because we can see what changes to the timeline are being made in real time. And we also see Okabe struggling to convince people about what weird things are happening in the future that they need to change. And also after episode 12, this loop of Mayuri being dead in every timeline starts, where Mayuri, no matter how many changes in the timeline Okabe makes, ends up dying one way or another. This is where the show gets really intense. And I think if you endure the first half of the show, this is where you'll get the payoff. This is the part of the show where everybody gets hooked. Now, this part is really intense, where the first part of the anime is just building up the main story and introducing the characters, and also establishing a basic understanding of the time traveling mechanics. And also because the show is based on a visual novel, and we all know that those things take time to actually get interesting. The second part has a lot of intense drama where Okabe is time traveling back and forth to somehow change the future and save Mayuri. And he finds out that in order for him to actually save Mayuri, he needs to undo all the changes to the timeline that he made with all those text messages in the first half of the show. Now, there is a lot of character drama here as well, but he manages to somehow make these changes after all. And the last change that he has to undo involves him not sending the text that saved Kurisu. So now he has to choose between his childhood friend Mayuri and the love of his life, Kurisu, because both can't exist at the same time. Because no matter how many times Okabe tries to save Mayuri, she ends up dying. And Okabe, my man, tries a lot to make things right, but he's tired, you know. Now, at this part of the anime, Okabe has to make a choice about who to save. This part reminds me of, you know, those episodic games where you need to make a choice at the end? And you're like, I don't want to make this choice. During the whole game, the choices usually don't matter all that much. But at the end of the game, for some reason, they'll give you two choices that will change everything. Also, this Okabe's choice dilemma indicates that this show is based on a visual novel. Because I'm sure toward the end of the game, we as a player have to make that choice instead of Okabe. Now, there are two endings of Steins Gate instead of one. I think it's based on what choice you make in the visual novel, but I'm not sure, I'm just making speculations. One of those endings I really like and the other not so much. So let's talk about the one that I do like. So when Okabe has no choice but to choose between the two, he tells Kurisu about it and they spend an evening together. Then Okabe goes back to that day from episode 1 to save Kurisu, but ends up causing her death himself. Now, he loses Kurisu but saves Mayuri, and this is kind of a sad ending, and it tells us that time travel is messed up, man, and that we should not mess with the natural order of things. This, in my opinion, is a very mature ending for the show and overall more of a memorable one. Now, the second ending, which you can call a happy ending, is where Okabe manages to save both Mayuri and Kurisu. Yeah. And not in a complicated way as well. Mayuri slaps Okabe and Okabe gets motivated enough and saves Kurisu. Wow. This ending is very shallow in my opinion and kinda breaks the logic that the show was built on. Maybe in the visual novel it's a bit more nuanced than this, but I don't know about this one, man. But overall, Steins Gate is an amazing show. This is one of the only anime I've seen that actually explores time travel to its full extent and doesn't just use it as a plot device. The characters, the vibes, the story, everything about this show is amazing. And for anyone who loves time travel, this anime is top tier. The first half of the show may be slow for some people to get through, but once you get past that, it is just peak cinema. And it's a shame that not a lot of anime explore explore time travel in a way that Steins Gate does. But yeah, that's all my thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time.